Hello and welcome. My name is Meepolis, they, she, he, and this is Literally Graphic. And today we are looking at Low Woods, written by Carmen Maria Machado and art by DaNi. Colors by Tamara Bonvillain and letters by Steve Wands. Originally published in single issues, this collected graphic novel was published in 2020 by DC's Black Label. It was curated by Joe Hill Presents Hill House Comics. Rated 17+, this is a horror story of the psychological and body type. Other content notes might be memory loss, sex, and themes of sexual assault. Flipping to the back of the book, let's take a look at the creator's profile. Quote, Carmen Maria Machado is the author of the best-selling memoir In the Dream House and the short story collection Her Body and Other Parties, which was a finalist for the National Book Award and the winner for the Shirley Jackson Award and the Lambda Literary Award for Lesbian Fiction. In 2018, the New York Times listed Her Body and Other Parties as a member of the New Vanguard, one of 15 remarkable books by women that are shaping the way we read and write fiction in the 21st century. She lives in Philadelphia. DaNi was born in Athens, Greece in 1992 and studied sculpture at the Athens School of Fine Arts. She has worked for 2000 AD, IDW, Volt Comics, Legion, Boom Studios, Vertigo, Black Crown, and DC Hill House Comics. And this is the artist behind the creator-owned series Coffin Bound from Image Comics, written by Dan Waters. She is also the creator of Tales from the Strips, a self-published series that won the Reader's Choice Award at the 2015 Greek Comics Awards. She loves her cats and traveling around the world. Tamara Bonvillain is an Eisner Award-nominated colorist who has worked on books for major comics companies such as DC, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, Boom, and more. She currently lives in South Carolina. And Steve Wands is a comic book letterer, artist, and indie author. He's worked on top titles from Boom Studios, Dark Horse, DC Comics, Image, Marvel, and Random House. He's the author of the Stray Dead series and co-author of Trail of Blood and Fear Eater. When not working, he spends time with his wife and sons in New Jersey. End quote. Keywords that came to mind reading this short: comic trade, 90s, women, metaphor, warm tones, bicycle, and dark. The synopsis over on Goodreads is, quote, when your memories are stolen, what would you give to remember? Follow L and V as they search for their answers to the questions everyone else forgot. Shudder-to-Think, Pennsylvania is plagued by a mysterious illness that eats away at the memories of those affected by it. L and Octavia are two best friends who find themselves the newest victims of this disease after waking up in a movie theater with no memory of the past few hours. As L and V dive deeper into the mystery behind their lost memories, they realize the stories of their town hold more dark truth than they could have imagined. It's up to L and V to keep their town from falling apart, to keep the world safe from Shudder-to-Think's monsters. Flex issues 1 to 6. End quote. Looking at the reviews of Low Woods, as I generally try to do with these reviews, I found the low-star reviews less helpful than I generally do. Obviously, there can be good 5-star reviews and good 1-star reviews, but I find people who dislike things often articulate their opinions more clearly and can help me develop a more nuanced perspective of what I just read. Not so with Low Woods, which apparently triggered a lot of people because it followed teenage BIPOC lesbians. Not a critique I can take seriously, to say the least. Otherwise, people mostly complained that the art felt unfinished, a more reasonable complaint perhaps, although I do not share that opinion. In my opinion, the design of the book, as well as the art, was pretty top-notch. I'm a big fan of the older Vertigo titles, and this felt maybe like a modern take of those kind of sketchier styles. I also feel like it hits that all-important note of really reflecting the tone and vibes of the story it's telling. Set in the 90s, not the 80s, but the color and the ominous vibe kind of reminded me of Paper Girls, a series I have yet to finish, so if that's a weird comparison, please forgive me. A lot of people compared the vibes to Stranger Things, which I never watched, so I wouldn't know anything about that. Writing-wise, it was definitely one of those books I needed to slow down on and reread and listen to other people's opinions of the book to fully get everything that was going on. Lots of metaphors, imagery, and playing with tropes, so highly referential and not spoon-feeding the reader anything. I feel like there were maybe a few kinks in the flow that left me a bit confused confused at first, but this is Machado's first foray into comics, and I would rate this a pretty high debut. I do agree that the town's name, Shudder-to-Think, is a bit overwrought, but also that is the sort of name you would expect from a story like this. The setting left me more than a little biased. I really miss creepy and rusty old Pennsylvania after reading this book. Sexual violence is pretty central to Low, Low Woods, although generally not in a very explicit way. I really appreciated this entry into the ongoing conversation about how to talk about sexual violence in a way that doesn't feel exploitative. These are clearly things that Machado thinks about very deeply, bringing her experience forward from writing in the Dream House, as well as Her Body and Other Parties, I assume, although I haven't read that one yet, into graphic fiction. Consuming media from people who balance out their understanding of theoretical analysis of real life with love for genre is like catnip for me. But yeah, I guess it's not terribly surprising that some people might have no idea what she's talking about. As far as gender went, we saw some diversity, but it probably felt like the most cookie cutter part, which isn't saying much, as there wasn't much cookie cutter about this. Race was not central to the story, but we did see a fair amount of diversity represented visually, which is one of the strengths of the medium, to my mind. Culturally speaking, I wasn't entirely sure about the use of Deer Woman, a real figure in a number of cultures indigenous to so-called North America. I am not the person to rule if this is appropriate or not. I do not find any commentary on this particular point, but I thought it was worth noting. Class, while not broken down into dollars and cents, is a strong undercurrent to everything. Coal mining Pennsylvania is notoriously left behind economically, and that clearly has left a lot of people in Shudder-to-Think in destitution and desperation, with a literal scar torn through their town. Importantly, to my mind, there is moral diversity in Shudder-to-Think, though, so it's not just demonizing people for being poor. Our main characters show a lot of resilient qualities, even if their setting is highly dysfunctional. Looking at ability and disability, I could be wrong, but despite the book feeling body horror-ish at times, DaNi and Machado did feel like they avoided the ugly or disabled equals evil trope pretty well, and there's a little bit of body diversity. That said, assuming I'm remembering correctly, able-bodiedness seemed to be the assumed average. Wrapping things up, this is so far the closest I've come to picking up a Joe Hill comic. So far, so good, lol. 5 out of 5 stars for making me sit and ponder for so long, such a short story. I feel like Machado is really pushing the bounds of horror comics, particularly in terms of DC. As far as my inevitable consumption of something actually Joe Hill, never fear. Lock and Key is the realm of comics picked for October, so I'll certainly try and tackle it soon. Bye y'all, keep reading and organized and capitalist oppression. And as always, Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders, which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, non-Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.